a low-cost airline, a hybrid alternative, and the spirit of Australia. If you're flying between major Australian cities, chances are that you're flying on either Jetstar, Virgin Australia, or Qantas. However, there were moments in our aviation history when we had more than 3 airlines competing for a slice of the Australian skies. Recently, Bonzo tried to revolutionize the regional air market, but questionable ownership, operational unreliability, and a niche business plan led to its collapse 15 months after its inaugural service. Regional Express also attempted to compete against the major carriers, but underestimated Virgin Australia's operational and financial collapse, and its overambitious plan to operate jet aircraft led the airline to financial ruin and eventual voluntary administration. This leaves 3 airlines competing for travelers' money and loyalty. In hindsight, they're not operated by 3 different companies. Qantas is Australia's national and largest carrier, but it also owns Jetstar as its low-cost subsidiary. Together, these 2 airlines control nearly 64% of the market share, with Virgin Australia accounting for 35% and the remaining 1% comprising smaller regional carriers such as Rex. In other words, the Australian aviation market is a duopoly. There's not much competition other than Qantas or Virgin, and if a new player wants to steal a slice of their blue sky, the demand is too small to warrant a second major airline. Heck, even a third. Regardless, it's no wonder that Australians have very few choices when traveling domestically, leaving them with few alternatives if one airline offers subpar customer service, operational unreliability, or public relations miscues. That said, what was it like to fly on one of them? I was fortunate to travel with Jetstar, Qantas, and Virgin over 2 years, each offering various cabin products, airport experiences, flight operations, and membership benefits. The purpose of this comparison is to help you choose what airline best suits your needs, considering price, comfort, and the perks of traveling with them. This constructive criticism of these airlines is my opinion, and if you disagree with me, that's fair. However, the key takeaway from this review is that not all airlines are equal, nor are they loved by travelers, workers, and the public. In 2004, Qantas introduced Jetstar to counter the rising threat of its biggest low-cost competitor, Virgin Blue. Jetstar is famous for its all-day, everyday low fares. Its business model revolves around taking passengers from point A to point B affordably and efficiently without spending extras such as checked baggage, meals, in-flight entertainment, and preferred seating. However, low fares come at a cost of comfort. Jetstar offers economy class seating on almost all domestic flights, yet each aircraft can carry 180 to 230 passengers, which means that on a full flight, passenger space is restricted. Additionally, to save maintenance and cleaning costs, there are no personal headrest or an IFE system in each seat. Movies, shows, and music are available for a fee if you bring your own device, such as a smartphone, tablet, or laptop. Jetstar offers tiered fare types depending on the extras and comforts you need for your flight. Some fares include checked baggage, while others offer frequent flyer points. The highest fare will get you everything, including flexibility. The Qantas and other airlines sell this package especially to business travelers or families needing to travel somewhere urgently. On this flight from Sydney to Melbourne and vice versa, I chose the Starter Plus combo, which includes complimentary seating, checked baggage, frequent flyer points, and a meal voucher. In 2024, Jetstar made frequent flyer points complimentary on all flex bundles. However, I flew this flight in July 2022, when the Starter Plus with frequent flyer points package was available for purchase. It was 5:45 a.m. when I entered Sydney Airport's Terminal 2 to check in for my Melbourne flight, but long queues greeted me inside the departures area. Australia had just emerged from a COVID lockdown, and weary travellers are eager to escape Sydney for major cities or national tourist hotspots. This meant that the check-in line was extremely long, especially to drop off checked luggage and pass security. It took me nearly an hour from entering the terminal to entering airside. By then, I had less than 30 minutes to make it to gate 36, where my flight, JQ 505, would depart. Jetstar's fleet consists of the Airbus A320 family, a European narrow-body short-haul commercial aircraft. This Airbus A320-200 will be my aircraft for the 90-minute hop to Melbourne. Victor, Quebec would end up at Qantas Link months after this flight for their Western Australian fly-in, fly-out operations. For now, like other Jetstar A320s currently operating, it was standard. However, its interior was showing its age as it had been in service with the airline for 17 years, making it one of the oldest A320s in Jetstar's fleet. Due to technical issues, my flight was delayed. But when it is ready for boarding, the aircraft is open to all passengers except for those seated in the front or emergency rows, or those who require assistance. I boarded my Jetstar A320 via the rear doors, requiring a walk outside the terminal. I pre-booked a seat before checking in for this flight, which is 10A, a window seat. A standard Jetstar economy class seat has 18 inches in width and 29 inches in legroom, which is below the industry average but typical for a low-cost carrier. As I mentioned previously, this seat does not have an adjustable headrest or an IFE system, but it has a large literature pocket to store items. Inside are printed materials, including the buy-on-board catalog, the safety instructions card, and the air sickness bag. The tray table can be retracted and moved towards the passenger, serving it as a usable space for laptops and in-flight meals. This seat also slightly reclines, enabling you to adjust to your optimal seating position, especially if you want to take a quick nap. Lastly, there is no universal power outlet or USB port to connect with your electronic device. The newer A320 aircraft, especially from the A320neo family, allow charging for smartphones and tablets. Pushback commenced at 7:25 a.m., 20 minutes behind schedule.
Hello again. We want you to have a safe and enjoyable flight, so please listen closely while we take you through the safety requirements for our Airbus A320.
At this point, the cabin crew gave a safety briefing to inform their passengers what to do in an emergency.
As we get underway, please make sure your personal electronic devices are in a flight safe mode. 2 at the front, 4 over the wing, and 2 at the back of the cabin. Lights will illuminate, showing you the path to follow to these exits.
Sydney Airport has 2 parallel north-south runways and a 3rd east-west runway. My flight taxied to runway 16 right, where it departed in a southerly direction. As we climbed out, I saw Botany Bay before flying over Kurnell and breaking out of the clouds towards cruising altitude. Once my flight reached cruising altitude, the in-flight service began. Jetstar offers a range of savory and sweet snacks, and alcoholic and non-alcoholic beverages. From sandwiches and wraps to muffins and chocolate bars, you can pair a light meal or snack with a drink for a combo at a discounted price. There's also merchandise for people who want to take something from this flight. There's also a dedicated section of offerings on international flights, including a travel kit. I have a $10 meal voucher for this flight, which I spent on a banana bread and hot chocolate. This combo is priced at $7.50. The banana bread comes in plastic wrapping for protection, while the hot chocolate comes in a paper mug with a lid to prevent liquids from spilling over me if my flight runs into turbulence. Speaking of the flight, there is no turbulence, even as the A320 reached its halfway point of its journey, approaching the New South Wales and Victoria border and the Snowy Mountains, featuring Mount Kosciuszko, Australia's tallest mountain. This Jetstar A320 has 3 lavatories, 1 in the front and 2 in the rear. This rear left lavatory contains a toilet, a tap with basin, a mirror, and a baby nappy change table. This toilet has running water, hand soap, and paper towels to clean your hands, as well as toilet paper to wipe your bum. It was clean and well maintained throughout this flight. After nearly an hour in the air, it is time to descend towards Melbourne, Victoria. Because I'm landing west, I'm treated to a spectacular view of Port Phillip Bay and Melbourne city centre, featuring the Eureka Tower and Australia 108, 2 of the city's tallest buildings. Unlike in Sydney, Melbourne was very sunny with nothing but blue skies. It was a perfect morning to begin my final approach towards Melbourne's Tullamarine Airport. Built in 1970, Tullamarine replaced Essendon Fields Airport as Melbourne's primary international airport. This airport has 4 terminals, 2 intersecting runways, and operates 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. My flight will land at runway 27 and arrive at Terminal 4, home to Jetstar's domestic operations, 6 minutes behind schedule, which is not bad given the 20-minute late departure. Looking back at my Jetstar experience, the entire flight was uneventful, but the airport experience was not. The check-in process was slow due to the massive volume of passengers arriving for other Jetstar flights, but I made it to the gate before departure time. Boarding is civilized, and the cabin crew were professional, attentive, and a bit friendly. The light breakfast is good, but nothing special. The bread is fluffy and slightly moist, while the hot chocolate is hot and tastes as described on the menu. The seat itself has no headrest and limited legroom. That's fine for a short hop like this, but on a transcontinental or short-haul international flight, it's not an ideal way to fly to your destination with comfort and style. That's the price for paying to fly with them, and the same is true with all other low-cost airlines operating globally. The Jetstar experience is slightly above average, but what makes up for it is the price. This flight costs $67 one way, which is outstanding value, and undercuts Qantas, which charges roughly double what I should pay for this flight. However, because of my Starter Plus combo, I paid $226.40 for this sector and the return trip. As I'm eligible to earn Qantas frequent flyer points with this flight, both legs earned me 1,600 Qantas points. That's more than 7 points per dollar. At that time, I thought this deal was a great bargain for this short trip. However, that was because I paid it during a promotion, which Jetstar does it at certain times to encourage travelers to fly with them, including outside school holidays. With frequent flyer points now applying exclusively to flex fares, unless a promotion takes place, it's just not worth flying on Jetstar unless you're going after cheaper fares, and even less valuable if you want to earn loyalty points, when it is more affordable to fly with Qantas. To reiterate from the beginning, Jetstar provides all-day, everyday low fares for people who can afford to fly within and beyond Australia. However, in some cases, Jetstar doesn't offer the cheapest flights at certain times and destinations. That distinction belonged to an airline that, 25 years ago, changed Australia's aviation industry forever. Congratulations! You have reached the end of my first long-form presentation on this channel. Did you enjoy this comprehensive review? Don't forget to leave a like and share your opinions in the comments below. But I'm just getting started. This is the first of 3 parts in this Australian airline comparison, and the next installment will involve a transcontinental journey from Sydney to Perth aboard Virgin Australia. This airline is Qantas' biggest competitor. What services and perks will customers receive? And does Virgin differentiate enough to be a worthwhile alternative option? While you wait, don't forget to check out my Adventures in Indonesia playlist on screen now. This collection features new experiences and revisits to my favorite destinations as I explore my ancestral country for the first time in a decade.